The Ruins of Elyndor. Elyndor was once proud. Now it lay shattered. Once a beacon of hope and prosperity, Elendor's streets were filled with laughter and the bustling of daily life. The grand buildings, now mere skeletons of their former selves, stood as silent witnesses to a time when the city thrived. The air, once filled with the scent of blooming flowers and fresh bread, now carried the heavy stench of decay and abandonment. The transformation was stark, a haunting reminder of how quickly fortunes could change. Broken streets snaked through the city like forgotten promises. These streets, once pathways to dreams and ambitions, now led to nowhere. They twisted and turned, leading to dead ends and collapsed structures. The cobblestones, once meticulously maintained, were now cracked and uneven, making every step a potential hazard. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional sound of crumbling debris or the distant call of a lone bird. It was as if the city itself was mourning its lost glory. Buildings stood empty, windows like vacant eyes. These structures, once homes and businesses, now stood as hollow shells. The windows, which once framed scenes of daily life, now stared blankly into the void. The interiors, once filled with warmth and activity, were now cold and lifeless. The walls, once adorned with vibrant colors and decorations, were now covered in grime and graffiti. Each building had its own story, a tale of dreams unfulfilled and lives disrupted. Dust, thick and grey, covered everything. It settled on every surface, a testament to the passage of time and the absence of life. The once clear windows were now opaque, the streets blanketed in a layer of ash. The air was heavy with particles, making it difficult to breathe. It was as if the city was slowly being buried inch by inch under the weight of its own desolation. The dust was a constant reminder of what had been lost and what could never be reclaimed. It was a place of whispers and shadows, haunted by a past it could not outrun. The shadows seemed to move of their own accord, creating an ever-present sense of unease. Whispers, carried by the wind, spoke of forgotten secrets and untold stories. The city was alive in its own way, a living memory of what once was. Every corner held a piece of history, every shadow a fragment of a story. It was a place where the past and present coexisted, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life. Amara walked with a practiced ease through the debris. She had traversed these ruins countless times, each journey etching a map in her mind. Her movements were fluid, almost graceful, as she navigated the treacherous terrain. She knew where to step, where the ground was stable and where it might give way. Her eyes, sharp and alert, missed nothing. She was a survivor, a product of this harsh environment. Every step she took was a testament to her resilience and determination. Her boots, worn but sturdy, made soft, crunching sounds. Each step was deliberate, each sound a reminder of the journey she had undertaken. The boots, once new and shiny, were now scuffed and worn, bearing the marks of countless miles. They had been her constant companions, protecting her feet from the harsh terrain. The sound of her footsteps was a comforting rhythm, a steady beat in the otherwise silent city. It was a reminder that she was still moving forward, still fighting to survive. Each step was sure, her gaze sweeping the rooftops. She was always on alert, always aware of her surroundings. The rooftops, once a place of safety and refuge, were now potential threats. She scanned them constantly, looking for any sign of danger. Her eyes, sharp and focused, missed nothing. She was a hunter, always on the lookout for prey or predator. The city was her domain, and she knew every inch of it. Her vigilance was a necessary part of her survival, a skill honed through years of experience. Danger lingered in every corner of Elyndor, a constant companion. The city was a maze of hidden threats and unseen perils. Every corner, every shadow, held the potential for danger. Amara knew this all too well. She had learned to move with caution, to trust her instincts. The city was a living entity, always shifting, always changing. It was a place where the line between friend and foe was blurred, where trust was a luxury she could not afford. Danger was a part of life in Elyndor, a constant reminder of the city's dark past. "We should make camp before nightfall," Kaelen said, his voice rough but low. His words were a reminder of the ever-present danger. Nightfall brought with it a new set of threats, a darkness that could hide anything. Kaelen's voice, though rough, held a note of urgency. He knew the risks of being caught out in the open after dark. His eyes, like Amara's, were constantly scanning their surroundings. He was a survivor too, but his journey had been different. He was still learning, still adapting to the harsh realities of Elyndor. He adjusted the pack on his shoulders, his gaze scanning their surroundings. The pack was heavy, filled with the essentials they needed to survive. Every item had been carefully chosen, every ounce accounted for. Kaelen's movements were deliberate, his eyes always on the lookout for potential threats. He was still getting used to the constant vigilance, the need to always be on guard. But he was learning, and he was determined to survive. His pack was a symbol of his commitment, a reminder of the journey he had undertaken. Unlike Amara, he moved with a hesitant uncertainty, still getting used to the ever-present danger. His steps were cautious, his movements deliberate. He was still learning to navigate the treacherous terrain, still adapting to the constant threat of danger. But he was determined, and he was learning quickly. Every step he took was a step towards survival, a step towards understanding the harsh realities of Elyndor. He was not yet as confident as Amara, but he was getting there. He was learning to trust his instincts, to move with purpose. Amara simply nodded, her expression hidden behind the tangled mess of dark hair that fell across her face. Her hair, once neatly kept, was now a wild tangle, a testament to the harsh conditions she had endured. Her nod was a silent agreement, a recognition of the need to find shelter. She knew the dangers of the night, the threats that lurked in the darkness. Her expression, hidden behind her hair, was one of determination. She was a survivor, and she would do whatever it took to stay alive. They couldn't afford to be caught out in the open when darkness fell. The night brought with it a new set of dangers, a darkness that could hide anything. They needed to find shelter, a place where they could rest and regroup. The ruins of Elyndor were filled with hidden threats, and they needed to be prepared. Setting up camp was a routine they had perfected, a necessary part of their survival. Every movement was deliberate, every action carefully planned. They knew the risks, and they were prepared to face them. Not here, not in Elyndor. The city was a place of constant danger, a place where the line between friend and foe was blurred. They needed to be vigilant, to always be on guard. The night brought with it a new set of threats, a darkness that could hide anything. But they were survivors, and they were prepared. They knew the risks, and they were ready to face them. Elyndor was a place of whispers and shadows, a place where the past and present coexisted. But they were determined to survive, to find a way through the darkness. An unlikely partnership. They were an unlikely pair, Amara and Kaelen. Their paths had crossed by chance, or perhaps by fate, in a world where survival often meant going it alone. Yet here they were, side by side, each step a testament to their growing bond. She was all sharp edges and wary glances, a shield always held high. Amara had learned the hard way that trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. Her past was a tapestry of betrayals and battles, each thread a reminder of why she kept her guard up. Kaelen, on the other hand, was quieter, his gaze often distant, lost in thoughts he rarely shared. His silence was a stark contrast to Amara's intensity, but it spoke volumes. He was a man of few words, but those words carried weight. He carried the weight of a hidden past, a burden that shadowed his every step. The secrets he held were like chains, binding him to a history he couldn't escape. Yet, despite the heaviness, there was a resilience in his stride, a determination to move forward. Their journey had thrown them together, two souls seeking something lost in the wreckage of the world. The landscape around them was a testament to the chaos that had befallen their world, but it was also a canvas for their shared quest. They were bound by a shared purpose, to find the 5 ancient glyphs, keys to restoring the shattered veil and bringing balance back to their world. Each glyph was a piece of a larger puzzle, a step towards a future they both yearned for. Amara clutched the map in her hand, her fingers tracing the faded lines. The map was their guide, a relic from a time before the world had fallen apart. It was fragile, like their hope, but it was all they had. Each glyph found was a victory, a step closer to their goal. The glow of the glyphs was a beacon in the darkness, a reminder that their efforts were not in vain. With each discovery, their bond grew stronger, forged in the fires of their shared struggle. But it was a dangerous path they tread, fraught with peril and uncertainty. The world was a treacherous place, filled with remnants of the old world and threats from the new. Every step was a gamble, every decision a potential pitfall. "The crumbling spire," she murmured, her voice barely audible above the wind whistling through the ruins. The spire was a landmark, a destination that loomed large in their quest. It was said to hold one of the glyphs, but it was also a place of danger and mystery. That's where the map leads. The path was clear, but the journey was anything but. The map was a guide, but it couldn't predict the challenges they would face. It was up to them to navigate the dangers and find their way. Kaelen looked up, his eyes narrowing as he scanned the horizon. He was always on alert, always watching for threats. His vigilance was a product of his past, a habit he couldn't shake. But it was also a strength, a skill that had saved them more than once. "Let's hope this one doesn't try to kill us like the last." The words were spoken with a mix of humor and grim reality. Their journey had been filled with dangers, and they had learned to expect the unexpected. Amara allowed herself a small, humorless smile. No promises. It was a rare moment of levity in their otherwise serious quest. Despite the dangers, they had found a way to keep going, to keep fighting, and in that there was hope. Walls of the heart. Amara kept her distance, both physically and emotionally. Years spent surviving in the ruins had taught her the danger of trust. She kept her own counsel. Her past a locked door she didn't dare open. She watched Kaelen from beneath her lashes as he gathered firewood, his movements quick and efficient. He moved with a grace that belied his size, a stark contrast to the clumsiness he displayed when they'd first met. He'd been different then, hesitant and unsure, but beneath the surface, Amara had sensed a quiet strength, a resilience that mirrored her own. And in the flickering firelight, she saw a flicker of something else in his eyes, something akin to hope. It unsettled her, this unexpected warmth that bloomed in her chest when he smiled. It was a dangerous thing, this growing connection. Vulnerability was a weakness she couldn't afford, not anymore. A flicker of warmth. The campfire crackled softly, its flickering flames casting dancing shadows on the surrounding trees. It was a small beacon of light in the vast, dark forest, a symbol of hope and warmth in an otherwise cold and unforgiving world. Kaelen had never known companionship like this. He had always been a solitary wanderer, moving through life with a heavy heart and a burdened soul. The forest, with its towering trees and whispering winds, had been his only companion for as long as he could remember. He had always walked alone, haunted by the ghosts of his past. Memories of lost loved ones and missed opportunities clung to him like shadows, never allowing him a moment of peace. Each step he took was a reminder of the pain and regret that had shaped his life. But with Amara it was different. She was a light in his darkness, a presence that brought a sense of calm and comfort he had never known. Her quiet strength and unwavering determination drew him in, making him feel things he had long thought impossible. He found himself drawn to her quiet strength, the way she moved through the world with unwavering determination. She faced every challenge head-on, never backing down or giving up. It was a quality he admired deeply, one that made him want to be a better person. He saw the walls she built around herself, the barriers she erected to keep others at a distance. It was a defense mechanism, a way to protect herself from the pain and disappointment that life had thrown her way. The way she pushed everyone away. She had been hurt before, betrayed by those she had trusted, and now she kept everyone at arm's length. It was a lonely existence, one that Kaelen understood all too well. He understood that fear, that deep-seated need to protect oneself from further hurt. It was a feeling he knew intimately, one that had shaped his own life and decisions. He had built his own walls, kept his own distance, all in an effort to avoid more pain. He knew it all too well. The loneliness, the isolation, the constant battle between wanting to connect and fearing the inevitable hurt that would follow. It was a struggle he faced every day, one that had become a part of who he was. Yet he found himself wanting to break through her defenses, to reach out and show her that not everyone would hurt her. He wanted to prove to her that trust and companionship were not weaknesses, but strengths that could help them both heal. To show her that trust and companionship were not weaknesses. He wanted to be the one to help her see that there was still good in the world, that there were still people worth trusting. He wanted to be her friend, her confidant, her partner in this journey. He wanted to prove to her, to himself, that maybe, just maybe, they could find solace in each other's company, that together they could face the challenges ahead and come out stronger on the other side. It was a hope he clung to, a dream he dared to believe in. He watched as she accepted the cup of water he offered, her fingers brushing against his. It was a small gesture, but it meant the world to him. It was a sign that she was beginning to trust him, to let him in. Her fingers brushing against his, the touch sent a jolt through him, a spark of warmth in the desolate landscape of his heart. It was a feeling he had not experienced in a long time, a reminder that he was still capable of feeling, of caring. The touch sent a jolt through him, a spark of warmth in the desolate landscape of his heart. It was a feeling he had not experienced in a long time, a reminder that he was still capable of feeling, of caring. A spark of warmth in the desolate landscape of his heart. He clung to that feeling, a beacon of hope in the darkness they faced. It was a small flicker, but it was enough to keep him going, to give him the strength to keep trying. He clung to that feeling, a beacon of hope in the darkness they faced. It was a small flicker, but it was enough to keep him going, to give him the strength to keep trying. He knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but with Amara by his side, he felt ready to face whatever challenges came their way. A beacon of hope in the darkness they faced. Together they stood against the darkness, their bond a light that guided them through the toughest of times. They had found each other in the most unlikely of places, and now they were ready to face the world together.